This story was told to me by a Chassid in Kfar Chabad who has since passed away. He passed away, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like this. His name was how could I forget the name? Zalman Sudakevich, Rav Zalman Sudakevich, and he told the story. I don't know if he actually experienced this. He was one of the people, but it seemed from the story that he was. Chabad, the previous Rebbe was evicted from Russia. He was sentenced to death and for his anti-communist activities, and miraculously he got out. And several months later, he was evicted from Russia. He was evicted from Russia, and eventually he came to Poland. He went to Poland, so he was in Poland. Things were starting to rumble in the world. The Rebbe left Poland in 1940 when there was the bombing of 1939, 1940, when he was present in the bombing of Warsaw, when Germany declared war, when they opened the war. So before that, things were already starting to look not good. There were a lot of Hasidim that the Rebbe sent them to Israel, as far as I remember, Israel, in order to leave Poland. So they had to cross over several borders. And there were 5 or 6 of the Hasidim together, but they only had 5 passports. They had one less passport than they had people. So they had, let's say, 6 Hasidim and 5 passports. What would they do? The first one would go through, and he would pass his passport after it was stamped. He would pass it to the Hasid behind him, and he would pass it to the one behind him. To the one in the end, he would get it, and they would hope that they wouldn't notice, which the countries didn't mind. But there was one country that they had to go through. Maybe it was Germany itself. I don't know. But the guards were Germans. And once in a while, you'd hear like people yelling and screaming, and all of a sudden there would be a shot would ring out, and they would kill people. And they would throw the bodies over to the side, whatever, on a truck or something. So of course they were very worried. So they went across this border, and they were very surprised that when it came to the last one who had the passport that had already been stamped by the previous one, so as soon as it came to the last person, the guard that was there suddenly got a phone call or something. Anyway, he turned his attention away and stamped the thing automatically, and they went through with no problem. They went through with no problem whatsoever. And afterwards, they came to Israel. They went to France. I think that's what it is. And finally, it ended up that they came to France or they came to America. I don't remember when this was. I have to look at the story. In any case, they got free. They were free. I think it was in France. They were in France. So when the Rebbe, our Rebbe, he went to get his mother from France after the war. After the war was finished, the Rebbe went to France and he got his mother. This was in, I think, 1947, I think it was, 47. He went to France to bring his mother from France back to America to stay with him. Okay, so there's one story I just told you about these Hasidim going over this border, right? Going over the border. And these Hasidim, or at least some of them, they settled in France. The Rebbe went, our Rebbe, the previous Rebbe got out of Poland. He left Poland in 1940. The Rebbe went 1 year after that. He was also in World War II, and he also made it out of Russia. It was a whole amazing story, and he went to America. But then after the war, his mother, who had been trapped in Russia with the Rebbe's father, where the Rebbe's father had passed away years before, and he passed away like in a concentration camp in Russia, in one of these camps. Anyway, in Russia. So his mother got out. His mother went to France, and the Rebbe went to meet him. When the Rebbe was in France, so he told an interesting story. all the Chassidim got together and they spoke, and there was a lot of amazing things that the Rebbe did when he was there in France. But one of the things was he told the story, and here's the story. The Rebbe said that once the previous Rebbe, when he was in Poland, before he got out of Poland, there were several years that the previous Rebbe was together with the Rebbe in Poland. The Rebbe got married to the previous Rebbe's daughter in Poland, in Warsaw. And shortly after that, the previous Rebbe left Poland. He went temporarily to America. Anyway, he came back to Poland again. So the Rebbe said that there was one time that the previous Rebbe had to receive shots because he was progressively becoming paralyzed. I think it was because of Parkinson's, I think. Anyway, he had to receive shots every day. I'm sorry if the details are not exactly right, but he had to receive a shot. One day, the nurse went in to give the previous Rebbe a shot, the shot that he would receive, the injection that he received once a week or whatever, every day. And she came running out and said that the Rebbe has had a stroke. So the previous Rebbe's wife ran in and saw the previous Rebbe sitting in the chair, and he seemed to be unconscious, like he was, catatonic or something. He was just sitting. So it happened to be that our Rebbe passed by. This is before he got married to the previous Rebbe's daughter. He passed by, and the previous Rebbe's wife called him. The Rebbe came in. The Rebbe repeated the story. Said the Rebbitzin, the previous Rebbe's wife, called me in to see what I should do. Should we call a doctor? And I saw the Rebbe's lips were moving. He was sitting there like unconscious, whatever, his lips were moving. And I listened, and I said, it's okay. He's singing Az Yashir. He's singing the song that the Jewish people sang when they went across the sea, after they crossed the sea. And sure enough, I guess his wife put her, and sure enough, that's what it's saying. It was saying it over and over again. It was like out of consciousness, and he was saying this song. So the Hasidim said to the Rebbe, when was this? So the Rebbe said the exact date and the exact time. And they said, that was the exact date and the exact time that we went over that border. That suddenly the guard at the border turned his attention from us and just stamped the passport without looking at it. It seems that the Rebbe realized that these Hasidim were getting out of Egypt, and he split the sea for them. He made it, took away the danger, what was preventing them from leaving, he took it away from them. How was he doing it? By saying Az Yashir, that somehow or other had a spiritual effect to enable the Hasidim to escape. Have a good day with Mashiach now.